Hello and welcome to another episode of Relax. We got a little nighttime review going on, so I can't be yelling and screaming like I always am. Well, tonight's review is going to be about The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan Bulls documentary. We originally kind of wanted to stay away from sports on our channel, but who knows? Our channel is still young, and we're always open to expanding our horizons. And this was in the form of a documentary, so it's justified. Here are my thoughts on Michael Jordan and The Last Dance.
Missing someone with all your heart. Missing someone with heart. How much you miss her, and you deserve. And you deserve. And you deserve. And you did it right from.
I'm a big LeBron guy. The guy has been squeaky clean, has been a great role model and face of the NBA for years. There's literally no reason to bash him. Sometimes he's a little bit of a baby, but whatever. Michael Jordan is the best player of all time. But I don't know how people argue that LeBron is greater. Greater is a little bit subjective, but if you're trying to make it as objective as possible, I just really do believe that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And the reason for me is simple. Starting from when LeBron got to the Heat, he should have went 4-0 on the Miami Heat. And my biggest argument against LeBron James being the greatest player of all time is his loss to the Dallas Mavericks in the 2011 NBA Finals. I don't think people remember how fucking brutal. I'm trying to not curse as much. I don't think people remember how brutal LeBron was during that series. LeBron James was the third leading scorer on the Heat. Michael Jordan would die before he was the third leading scorer on his team. LeBron James averaged under 18 points a game against the Dallas Mavericks. Do you know who the second best player on the Dallas Mavericks was? Jason Terry. If LeBron ever wanted to be considered as the greatest player of all time, he needed to go 4-0 with the Miami Heat. Because I don't even blame him for his losses to the Warriors. The first one, Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt. He's not going to beat that team by himself. Michael Jordan never won without Scottie. He came back from 3-1. I remember thinking if LeBron comes back from 3-1 against the Warriors, he's the best player of all time. And he won, and I was still I actually still think Michael's the best player. And then against Kevin Durant, the Kevin Durant Warriors is the best team of all time. And if you think otherwise, I don't really know what you've been watching or what. It's people who say that the Bulls would beat that Warriors team. It's imagine if the Bulls, when they won 72 games, the next year they got Charles Barkley. It's that would just be dumb as fuck. And that's exactly what happened with the Warriors. That team is the best team of all time, and it's not even close. So yeah, that's where my Michael Jordan LeBron argument is just going to end, because it will just go on forever. But yeah, stop being weird. If you think LeBron James is the best player of all time, just stop being weird. Regarding The Last Dance, that documentary got so much better on the back half. The last 4 episodes were phenomenal. The last 4 episodes are the best 4 episodes of the documentary. I'll give you 4 takeaways in order of what I think are the most interesting and important. 4 takeaways. Ready? Fourth one's quick. Dennis Rodman, legend. Okay, here's where things get serious. Third takeaway. Scottie Pippen. What a polarizing part of the documentary. Because literally before this documentary, I was always just oh yeah, Scottie was always rock solid, just always there. One of the best players in the league. Grade 2 player. Didn't know that there was so much drama surrounding him. I didn't know he signed a fucking 13-year deal for $10. It's like, I didn't really feel bad for him when he was trying to renegotiate his contract. It's like, why would you, like, I understand he said he had to take care of his people, but, like, sometimes you just gotta bet on yourself, you know? Yeah, so that whole contract thing was weird. And then he sat out? Like, in a year without Michael Jordan, you're the leader of the team, and there's 2 seconds left, and you're gonna sit out? Like, how could you be in that moment? And it's not like he was just like his first few years in the league. He's been in the league at that point. This is after they won their first 3 championships. And he's just gonna pout? It's like, you gotta trust. Did he not trust Phil at that point? Especially against the Knicks too. It's like they were a huge rival. I think it was against the Knicks. Yeah, it's like I think it was against the Knicks. Just such a crazy part of the documentary. And then he decided not to rehab his ankle during the summer, just to shove it in their faces. It just seemed like he didn't really have a sense of brotherhood. But then you see them hobbling around in the finals game with a bad back. It's just, Scottie Pippen, I didn't know. I thought he was just like, didn't speak. I thought he was kind of like Kawhi. You know? Kind of just like played defense. Was an underrated offensive player. I mean, Kawhi is one of the best players in the league now. He's not really underrated on offense, but I kind of just thought he was like Kawhi, just like, you know, rock solid. Didn't have like a crazy personality. I didn't know fucking Scottie was such a polarizing figure. The guy pouted a lot. And I just was watching FS1, Colin Cowherd today, and they were talking about, or maybe it was First Take, whoever it was, they were talking about how Scottie Pippen was hurt by his portrayal in The Last Dance. You were just portrayed how it happened in real time. It's not like they were adding random shit. It's like they took out some bad shit about him. I'm pretty sure he had a DUI or some shit, or had possession of a gun. So I don't know. I don't feel bad for Scottie. Weird part of the documentary. Takeaway number 2. So at the end of the documentary, they gave Michael Jordan the tablet when he was watching all the clips, and they showed him Jerry Reinsdorf, or however the freak you say his name. And he was like, we simply couldn't afford to keep everybody, pretty much. And that's why the dynasty ended. And Michael Jordan did that face. And Michael Jordan was like, oh, like I would have came back for 7, blah, blah, blah. It was time to go. You saw during that 98 season, it was time to go. Scottie was acting like a little sissy. Dennis Rodman was literally hanging out with Hulk Hogan during the NBA Finals, not going to practice. Just think about that for a second. I don't really think Dennis Rodman was trying to come back for another year. And if Michael Jordan was somehow able to convince him, it would have been even more of a shit show for Dennis Rodman. It's like he was already skipping practice and going to Vegas and shit. It's like, who would have been doing that half the time if he played another year? Scottie was breaking down. His back was fucked up. He had 2 surgeries the past 2 years. Oh, I just read that article. Jerry Krause, in his memoir, talked about why they broke up and was pretty much saying what I'm saying right now. Jerry Krause was saying Scottie was injured. Dennis Rodman was distracted. Luke Longley didn't have any ankles. And I agree with him. I think it was time to go. I don't think that they should have ran it back again. I don't really think Michael Jordan believes that, to be honest. It just seemed like it was time to go. They barely beat the Pacers. The fact that they beat the Jazz in 6. It's like, talk about greatest players of all time. He made the Jazz. He beat them in 6 twice in a row, with John Stockton averaging 15 assists a game and the second leading scorer of all time, or whatever he is, Karl Malone. It's like, that team was good as fuck. I gotta stop cursing. And this takes me to my number 1 takeaway about the documentary. I'm not getting there yet. I'm ending my second takeaway, and it's gonna lead into my first takeaway. How Phil Jackson made The Last Dance like laminated pretty much scripts for how the year was gonna go. Like, that was it. That was the last year. You can't hype up everybody and have all like the antics around it, like The Last Dance, and like hype up the last year and then play one more year. That just takes away. You can't one more time the one more time. You just can't. Okay, so yeah, no, that leads me into my last takeaway. The number one takeaway from the documentary. This documentary fortified the out of Phil Jackson's legacy. I mean, obviously, he was one of the two greatest coaches of all time, probably the greatest coach of all time. But then he went to the Knicks, and he took a nap during a pre-draft workout, and Stephen A. Smith went on ESPN and started yelling for God knows what reason. If Phil Jackson wants to take a goddamn nap, let him get some shut-eye, all right? If he doesn't think the kid's going to be good, let him take a nap. The Knicks were in better shape when Phil Jackson left the Knicks than when he got there. Imagine trying to juggle the egos and personalities of Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, and what I know now, the polarizing Scottie Pippen. That is insane. Dennis Rodman asking to go to Vegas in the middle of a season because he needs a break. Hanging out with Hulk Hogan and Carmen Electra during the finals. What? Phil Jackson was just so grounded. He was so solid as a coach and just as a person. Like, the security as a coach and person to let one of your best players go to Vegas during the season and be cool with it? I don't think there's literally any NBA coach ever that would be cool with that. There's a reason why you call Phil Jackson the Zen master. It's like he looked at Dennis Rodman as he really was a leader. He was a father figure to that team. Like, he was completely fine knowing that if the media were to find out that he let his players go AWOL during the season, like, he was like, yeah, no, I don't give a shit. As long as we're winning games and as long as I have his full attention when he comes back, we're all good. He really was so much more than a basketball coach. Like, did you see him in the documentary when after they won in 98 against the Jazz? He was like, oh, how beautiful. It's like, yeah, dude. Like, he wasn't like when I picture someone winning like games, I picture Jeff Van Gundy like fucking jumping up and down for the Knicks. Like, yeah. Like, Phil Jackson was like, oh, that was beautiful. He understands life for what it is and understands that basketball is a game. That's what it is. Phil Jackson understands that basketball is a game. And that's what made him such a good coach. But yeah, those are my takeaways of the Last Dance documentary. It was really a great documentary. The information really carried the documentary, especially for people like me who didn't see Michael Jordan play in the Bulls in the 80s and 90s. I really appreciated seeing this documentary. Oh yeah, bonus takeaway? Did anybody know that Steve Kerr's dad got shot in the face? Jesus. Oh my God. R.I.P. to that guy. And Steve Kerr, what a badass. Steve Kerr is, you could tell that Steve Kerr is cut from the cloth of Phil Jackson. He's wise. He's a wise man. Wise basketball coach. But yeah, those are my thoughts and takeaways on the Last Dance. As always, thanks for watching. If you watched, spread the word, like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for us, any suggestions at all about things to review, any video ideas to make, leave them in the comments. Okay? Don't be scared. We won't bite. We love you. We love all of you. But yeah, turn the notifications on, and it's really fun making these. I want to keep making them. And if you guys want me to keep making them, I'm going to keep doing it. And we're going to keep doing it. And that's the bottom line. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and tune in next time.
Missing someone.